8 o'clock sharp, 8 o'clock sharp live stream. Don't expect too many people to jump in here right off the bat. So I'm going to start the little intro here for people that are maybe re-watching the stream, what I'm going to be up to tonight. So tonight I'm going to be working on some VeeFriends comic strips. You know, nobody asked me to do this, but they're hiring a comic strip artist right now. So I figured I'm going to walk you through that and kind of show you what I'm up to, learn how to draw these characters, and work on some strips tonight. So number one, tonight in the strip, I'm going to be working on these VeeFriend comic strips and talking about comic strips in general and my passion for them and what I've done in the past and where I think comic strips can go. We talk a little bit about that on my channel and some of the other videos. Number two, I'm going to share a plan for all the comic artists out there where you can become bigger than Garfield or crush peanuts. And I'm going to show you that in a little bit here. So sorry, Charlie Brown. I'm going to actually show you how you can become bigger than all those if you have what it takes. And then I want to show you how I've been experimenting using AI. So let me just pop on this stream here real quick so you can see. Like, I'm just going to move this around for some retention. Hey, Hero Hotel. Paul, how you doing? Yeah, so I want to show you guys how I've been experimenting also with some AI to help write and ideate comics. And, you know, I know it's a controversial thing. I'm going to kind of take you through the whole process of how I've kind of been training some AI stuff. So many artists and creators out there are afraid of AI, and I get it. But this is the world that we're living in, right? And so I'm going to tell you, and there's a lot of artists who look up to me and message me, and they're afraid, think they're going to lose their jobs or things like that. So I'm just going to tell you that you need to learn how to use AI as a tool, especially the writing aspect of it. And I'm going to jump in that topic a little bit later in the stream to kind of show you, and we'll write a strip together using some AI stuff. I'm going to show you exactly how I trained the AI on this VeeFriends thing too, which is really interesting and fascinating for me. So let's talk about spec work too. For the following, what I'm going to show you is, you know, we always talk about don't do spec work, right? But this is a different thing. Like, nobody's paying me to draw these comics or just have fun. But I think when there's something that comes about in your life and you feel an intuition to just kind of do it, and you're like, I dig this thing, then it's okay to put your time in and you know, just shoot your shot and see how it goes, right? So yeah, I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to show you a little bit of what I did in the stream the night before last. It's the first time I ever drew the VeeFriends characters. We'll talk a little bit more. I'll just give a recap of what the VeeFriends is for those that don't know. Hey, Steph, Paul's in here. A couple other people are joining. My voice is almost completely back, so that's great. And that's going to be wonderful. So I'm going to talk for a couple hours here. So let's talk about the spec work, and let's guide you through the VeeFriends real quick. So yeah, this was the first time that I drew VeeFriends characters. I drew a couple when I was at VCon a little while ago, just for like funsies for friends. But there's a big difference between like I said, doing spec work versus something that you just are passionate about. And most of the jobs that I've gotten in the past, you know, years ago, it's because I like heard a song or I reached out to a band and I just said, like, you know what, I want to do this. I think I could do this, and I know exactly how I'm going to do it. So, and I'm just really passionate about comic strips as a whole, you know. So irregardless if I get this gig or not, or I think it's a cool project and it's motivational and it aligns with my own pillars, and it would just be kind of cool to see somebody kind of bring back, you know, the great American comic strip. So that's the first time I drew some of these characters. A little reminder of what VeeFriends is. We got the tweet from Gary here the other night. It kind of kept me up. I couldn't sleep thinking about it, so I just stayed up, started drawing. So yeah, it's basically like an empire of characters that Gary has created, but they're all based around a you know, they've got good some sort of, like, I don't want to say, you know, some sort of takeaway. Uh, um, it's not just jokes and slapsticky stuff. It's friendly and it's kind of all ages, but not really all ages because there's some f words and stuff like that. You know, it's very Gary Vaynerchuk, but you could see how some of the characters are leveling up to do partnerships with, like, here's Skilled Skeleton is now with Skeletor, which I think is adorable. And this box like slides shut, like the little heart hand. So I like that. And then this is just a board that I put together to kind of reference some of the characters. They already have some really great cartooning going on, which is awesome. Hey, Joe and Joey. And all right, guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to be drawing here in a little bit, I promise. Yeah, but the cartoons are the characters are so interesting, and there's over 300 of them or something like that. There's 234, 250. They just release them occasionally too. They just released the Halloween set of these characters. And then we're talking about Sunday comics, Sunday comic strips, right? So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about how I feel about the future of comics. We'll just get right into that before I start drawing the strip as I'm chatting. And my Allie might join the stream in a little bit. We'll see if she's feeling up to jumping on and talking with some stuff here tonight. So yeah, I basically went in and wrote 7 different strips because while they wanted, they're asking for a weekly comic strip. When I think of comic strips, I think all in. Like I think 6 days a week, and then the 7th on a Sunday, right? So it's a daily comic strip. I'm thinking like Bloom County. I'm thinking Outland. All the great comics, because in my mind, I think that these VeeFriend characters could go pretty far. So let's talk about that real quick. Just going to zoom in on this. What does it look like? And this is, by the way, this is bigger than Garfield plan, or the bigger than Peanuts plan, or Crush Peanuts. How do we crush peanuts? Or eat shit, Charlie Brown. I don't know. It's not very nice, but Charlie, your day is over. But anyways, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Friday, Saturday, and then you got your Sunday, right? Oh, Alicia's very confused. She says, I'm here in the chat. And then she's like, wait, now I'm here as me. All right. And she's over there. I mean, you could join the actual stream, Alicia, and actually talk if you wanted to, have another voice on here. She's still getting over a little bit of cold too. So anyways, as that adds up, that's 6 dailies times 52 weeks. That's 312 strips a year plus 52 Sundays. You're looking at 364 comics. You think it would be 365, right? But 364 comics. Maybe I did the math a little wrong. Who knows? But and then going along with my other video about the future of comics, what if, not every single one, because that's insane, but you would create those live, like we're going to do tonight here, and stream it out to YouTube. Well, we're on YouTube now, but there's also Twitch and Meta and different places we can stream to. And the real reason to do that is for like an IP, an intellectual property, you can have a story arcs that go over 6 to 8 week periods. That's usually what happens in daily comic strips. There's some sort of like narrative that's happening, even if it's like a jokey comic. There's some character development happening. So this is a good opportunity for something like VeeFriends to have more character development going on. Fan interaction. So as you're building your fan base, VeeFriends already has a huge fan base, but letting those fans kind of interact in the stream would be pretty awesome, I think. And the strips are just basically an IP engine. It's a great way to test characters and bigger ideas. And this is how we do comic strips different in the modern era. I don't think that anybody's doing it like this, but we have all the tools to do it. It's just that, cartoonists are a little shy, I guess. But and again, like where would these be published daily? So we've already tested doing it on Instagram with like swipeable posts or TikTok carousel posts, posting it to Meta or Twitter, possibly an app. And there's probably a dozen other avenues where you could publish your daily comic strip. So that's the goal. 20 years from now, people will barely remember who Garfield or Peanuts is, but everyone will know VeeFriends, right? So that's the big picture, big pie in the sky thing. want to basically crush peanuts. That's what we want to do. That said, I'm going to jump into some drawing here. The other night I was drawing. I want people to look at that a little bit. Let's do that. I'm going to shrink myself a little bit more so you can see a little more of my screen. Now I'm really tiny. Now I like that. So this is what I'm drawing now. So the other night, let's just go through the where I was, what I'm doing tonight. I did some templates on here. I already showed you the first drawings. I kind of started this one the other night. That's like the first time. I didn't like this. It looked a little too like little too, I don't know, little too kids, little kids. I wanted to kind of, the more I thought about it, I'm like, okay, that was the first time, and I wasn't happy with that one. But what I did then was I started like building out these templates to make the process a little bit faster. So this is a Sunday template. So basically, with your Sunday strip, you have 3 tiers. That's kind of the format of a Sunday comic. We can even look here at Outland. Kind of just measured up, kind of just measured what would be the right sizes. I've done that before for my own templates. And then building out a daily template so we can draw 2 at a time. Ideally, because 2, 4, 6, right? So you do 3 of these a week. And the first comic, this is what it's going to read like. I started to do this the other night on the stream, but I was just kind of figuring it out as I went. But now here we got a pretty solid concept. So the concept is that Patient Panda here decides to draw a comic strip, a daily comic strip. And he's telling Genuine Giraffe here, I decided to create a daily comic strip. Are you in? And Genuine Giraffe doesn't know what a daily comic strip is. Because who reads that anymore, right? Like who knows, who even knows what that is? So it's a comic that comes out every day showcasing our adventures with our VeeFriends, right? And he's like, oh, will it be animated? So like that's the beat now in this strip. And Panda's showing off his little strip. And then we have no, it's just static drawings. We might switch. Alicia said like switch static to maybe something else, but I think static is, people know what static means, right? Alan Wilson, did you make this? I did make this. I didn't create VeeFriends. I'm just making the comic strips. So let's consider it fan art for now. So yeah, basically then it's like, oh, so like a selfie? And he's like, not quite, more like and then the last panel is a joke where the giraffe is like, hey, hold on a second, let's take a selfie. And like, this is for tomorrow's strip, right? And say cheese. And then the panda will be like, all like, dope, that's kind of like boom, 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 funny little cheesy ending. And that's your daily strip, right? I've written 6 more. Yeah, right now it's fan art of VeeFriends. That's right. So I'm not like ripping off anyone's IP or anything like that. The situation is that they are hiring a comic strip person, and I happen to be a comic strip person that could do this. So I'm just taking the initiative and busting this out. And I also thought it's a good opportunity to talk to my audience, because to show you guys, this is probably how you would go about trying to get a job in comics, or do something a little bit differently than just mailing something in or submitting something. Why not use all the tools that we have today to try to stand out a little bit and show your initiative? So yeah, so I'm going to ink this up. Actually, I'm not done penciling it yet. And I've gotten a little bit comfortable now drawing these characters, or at least these 2. So I pencil that up. And if you have any questions while I'm working, you can drop them in the chat and I'll check it out. And I'll just kind of talk while I'm drawing. And we're going to do this for a couple hours. We're only 14 minutes in, so it'll be about, last time it was about 2.5 hours stream. And in a little bit, I'll pop open my screen and show you guys that AI writing process too, because I think that's pretty interesting. What you can do with kind of training AI to be sort of an assistant for you. I like that. Boy, that's such a hot button topic right now. It's not going to go away, especially, in the arts community specifically. People are so, just like NFTs were, a big firebrand thing. Artists were kind of like, ah, but that's what we learned it following, and going to VCon. And I met so many artists that it just showed me a whole other world that was going on, because it's not all, you know, scams or anything like that. It's like, none of that stuff works unless you build. Hey, Maddie Comics. What's up? How's it going, Linda? I'll look up occasionally, and Alicia's in the chat here, so she's not. It'd be nice if she'd pop on and talk to me. So keep me company. You don't have to do that. Rest up. So in this panel, he's gonna that, and again, you can't really see like this scribble that's underneath here. Probably doesn't make a lot of sense to you, because it's like, oh, what the hell is he drawing? I'm gonna darken it up so you can see what I zoomed out, and I kind of pencil in the shapes real rough on this layer here called roughs. And then I fade it out to a point where it's like I got the general body shape, and now I can just kind of come in on the pencil layer and give it a go. So this whole thing here is he's kind of showing off this strip that's in his hand here. Kind of like, so I'm pointing down. Yeah, I was just talking to someone else about what it takes to do a daily or even a weekly comic, over time, because I really kind of feel like it takes a special kind of, not that I'm special or anything like that, but I think once you've done it before, your brain is kind of trained to think like a comic strip artist and not just like an illustrator or like a comic artist, even like a full story comic artist. You only have so much time or so many panels to work within to get your point across, or it doesn't always have to be a joke. I think the goal too would be that you want to make comics that people want to like print out and hang up on their refrigerator. So I said that the other night, and I think that's probably always the goal in my head, is like, I want someone to really like this comic because it's cute or whatever, or it's meaningful to them. If it's funny, okay, cool, but like maybe it's something that inspires them too. It doesn't have to just be VeeFriends. There's a lot of comics like that. People used to put Far Side. Oh, hey. Oh, are you in the stream, Alicia? Okay. Hey.
Hey.
It's my better half. So she's the one that said we should not use the word static. So I was like, all right, we got to figure out.
I think you could just drop it. So like anytime we've collaborated on comics, you always jam so many words into them. But like,
I know.
You don't need all those words.
All right.
Says me that's not a published comic artist.
But you're a published writer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, I was over here. Sorry. Stanex said, I know this is all digital, so it really doesn't matter, but what canvas size are you doing these on? So it does matter, because when I was laying these, and I won't go back into it because I'll show you in a little bit, but I basically laid this one out to be about 15 inches by 10 inches or something like that. So that way I'm drawing it not in vector. I like to draw in Procreate. So that's a rasterized program. So I'm drawing at 300 DPI, but very large, so that we can get, massive web size, pixel size if we want to. But it would also look good in the future if we decide to vectorize it, or if that makes sense. This might just sound like jargon to people.
No, okay. So relatable to an actual project, you for a while were drawing a Webtoons project.
Webtoons, yeah.
Right? And then when Webtoons was happening and you were like, oh, we have a show coming up, we should print these as books.
Right.
You had not figured out the sizing for
Right.
it to be a book. I think the resolution was high enough, but we weren't able to do that as a printable copy when people started to want it because it was never made for that. So we would have had to
Right.
print like a really wonky sized book.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about long term and bigger picture, which I would imagine if you're working with something like VeeFriends or like Marvel Comics or something like that, you're going to want to build so that it could be printed in a lot of different things in the future.
Yeah, even
Right.
if you're never gonna do it, like
Yeah.
just don't shortchange yourself the options.
Yeah. Don't be just drawing in 72 DPI or something like that. Although there's a lot of programs that you could just draw a vector and then it doesn't matter what size it is, but it does kind of matter when you're drawing in a program like Procreate, just because.
So
Okay.
all the people that actually draw in this stream probably already know this, but I never understand why you do pencils. Like I don't understand why you draw everything twice.
Well, because I want to get the characters right, like because I can be a little more confident in my lines too. Um, Especially if you're working. I've never drawn these characters before, so but now I'm getting it because like they're pretty.
But
I
you'll
like.
always do this. Like you always do pencils and then inks. Like
Yeah, for the most part. Like just because I want to feel confident in the lines looking right, or if you go straight up inks, like I'm also trying to figure out this part because if this is if the dailies are black and white, they don't have to be, but like um, if there's like a spot on this giraffe, do we put it in black or do we put it in outline?
I
Do
love
they?
how you've manufactured this this daily that no one asked for.
No one asked for this.
Because you do this.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
do this on every project. You're like, someone's like, oh hey, I think we should do this very achievable,
Weekly
steady
comics,
workflow
and I'm like, yeah,
that
but
would totally fit in with the rest of your life. And you're like, no,
daily. Let's go daily.
365 of them.
Right.
Like it's like it's an obsession that you
But I
have.
mean, how would you ever achieve this plan? How would you ever achieve that you're going to be bigger than Peanuts or Garfield with just
Again,
doing a weekly? That's
no
weak.
one said that.
That is weak. Well, if this is
No
Gary
one...
Vaynerchuk here, you think Gary isn't thinking like we got to be bigger than, right? I don't know. I just imagine he would be. I haven't spoken to him or anything, but come on, you gotta go. Like Alicia, I'd want to do this for the next 10 to 20 years. I'll be old, right? Let's have fun. 20 years from now, no one's gonna remember what Garfield was,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah, that's gonna be long gone. But they'll know who Cynical Cat is, right? Anyways, so go big or go home.
Stanek says even newspaper dailies are done in color. He's
Right.
right.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. Well, we'll color it too then. All right, fine.
Well, if you got it, they wouldn't need a writer, so maybe they could hire a colorist instead.
Yeah, you won't need a. Really complicates things. Oh wait, nope, that's not his balloon. It's his balloon.
Natty Comics says the Kurtzman method. I'm sure you know what that is. I don't know what that is.
Harvey Kurtzman. Is that it? Is that it? Kurtzman? Maybe. All right. So see, this is why Alicia, Allie, because you want to have some kind of like you can't just go straight to inks with like gestures like this. It has to be real fluid, right? So here I captured the gesture of like taking a selfie. There's a giraffe taking a selfie with a panda bear. I mean, I couldn't really figure that out just like going straight to line art. But now that I've got these simple shapes here, I can just draw, panda down here, and he's gonna be looking. I know where his nose goes. I mean, I kind of got, and he's gonna be like a little like, well, maybe I don't even do that mouth.
Can you do duck face? Can you draw a panda doing duck face?
A duck face. I don't know.
Would anyone even know what that is now?
Duck face? I think so.
Yeah, we're so old. I'm sorry.
And people still do duck face on,
I don't think so.
right.
Yeah,
Also, I
someone
think,
asked how we're feeling.
oh yeah,
Better. Not all the way better, but pretty much better.
yeah, I'm better than Alicia is. That's for sure. I'm feeling
Just in
better.
general. You're just
Not in general. You don't have a sickness of. I have a sickness of a different kind now. So you know.
yeah.
Uh, so that'll be his little. See, like he has a little who. Like, is his arm really that long? Who knows? Who cares? But you could tell that his arm's around the panda bear who was just trying to like show this daily strip. Let's just do this. Uh, but yeah, I mean, even if if someone was like, "That's cute," daily comic strip is a good way to. The reason I even wanted to do it was because I think it forces me to learn to draw the characters a little bit, just for the just for myself, you know. But um, but it would be fine if it was a weekly. I'm sure it just would take 40 years to get there. It would take 40 years to get to destroy peanuts.
What did Charles Schultz ever do to you? What's
Nothing.
his
It's
name?
fine. I appreciate all those comic strips. But just like Marvel Comics, I think it's like you gotta start new stuff, right? You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Um, Sean says he thinks drawing ink first is really up to the artist, depending on how they work. I think Sergio Aragonés went straight to inks. Yeah, Sergio Aragonés did go straight to inks a lot of time. Uh, any tips on? Someone else said. Any tips on suggestions for learning how to draw stylized subjects as a beginner? That's kind of what I'm doing right now. And I don't want to jump too far out of out of getting something done on this stream, but I'll just show you real quick because I got to reset the stream occasionally for new people that are coming in. But just to recap a little bit, so I've never drawn these characters before. So this is for key lime pie. Is that key lime pie? Key lime pie. Yes.
I'm
So
guessing is their name Kylie? Is it like a plant? I don't know. That
Kylie pie, key lime pie. Anyways, I've never drawn these characters before, but I can when I'm looking at the characters, I'm like looking at the shapes
here.
of their heads, like the overall body shape. You know, whoever designed the characters on this stage, like this version of the characters, obviously wanted them to be cute and not simple, but like repeatable. And we can see that like this version doesn't look this toy version doesn't look exactly like that version, and they've added these little jaw things, which is kind of like fur, right? And sometimes there's like some nice blue in the eyes. So I'm just kind of like learning those. Like here, I found a picture of him looking up, right? So it's kind of like a Felix the cat body. So you can kind of get away with not showing the fingers lines if you wanted to. So that's kind of an easy one to draw. Same thing with accountable ant here, right? The body shapes are very similar, so like the characters have a look to them. And basically, what I did was I just went through and started to just jam out those shapes, right? You can see like just working on this, like the general shapes and tones until I kind of get it right. Kind of had a good feel for it. But I've been cartooning is like pretty not easy for me, but like this style of cartooning is way easier for me to figure out than say like drawing like some massive Marvel comic or something like that. But just take some. Take some time to patience to work on. Now, the other day, like I said, when this came up, I was like, "Holy cow, are you kidding me?" Like nobody talks about daily comic strips or comic strips anymore.
Just
Really?
you.
Just me. And so Alicia could tell you that I'm always like I'm always on about it. We go to these conventions where we went to Vid Summit recently, and like these, good friends of mine now, like that tell me like you got to go with what you're most passionate about inside. And then I came back and I was like, you don't want to hear this, Alicia, but what I'm really passionate about is daily comic strips, and I hide it.
But there's also the caveat is you were just very recently doing a 2 times a week strip, but you weren't feeling it. Like, so I think it's not just like let's find you a daily comic strip. It has to be either your daily comic strip or something that you really believe in, which is kind of how this is crazy. It's crazy that this came up, and I was thinking about, like, we always say, like, time is a flat circle. So
Time is the flat
if time is not linear
right?
and all of time is happening on top of itself, this makes a lot of sense. Or if
Wow,
we're in a
that's deep.
simulation, this
Whoa.
also makes a lot of sense because, like, you've been talking about Gary Vee since before we were together, and we're coming up
Right.
on 10 years
Right.
next month.
Yeah.
And if it is possible to will things into existence, you just willed the perfect comic project that is not your own IP. Like, the only thing that I could see you being satisfied doing long term that is not your own IP would be something with specifically Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah, and I wonder why that is. Like, I think, well, it's hard to go. Let's talk about just comic strips, right? They're kind of like dinosaurs, dying slowly, a painful, agonizing death, right? Web comics were great for a little while, but even the web comics kind of fell off, you know. And I'm thinking, like, my whole time, I'm like, man, I wish I could help bring back the daily comic strip. But I can't do that because I'm just me. I'm just like this guy out here I'm in the trenches. I can do it. I can gun this. I know what it takes to get it done. But I'm like, wait a minute. If you have someone like, so I would always say, like, what if Marvel or DC did daily strips? Remember, I'm always yammering about it. I talk to editors at Marvel and DC, and I'm like, guys, let's launch a daily Spider-Man comic. And they're like, no, we're not doing that. And I'm like, you guys don't see what I'm seeing. Like, daily interaction with fans. And daily, like, I'm just really passionate about it. I go on and on about it in my other video, my future comics video. But I just feel like the past is the future of this stuff. And I can just keep screaming it into the void. But somebody like Gary, I think, kind of can see I don't think he has, by the way, I don't think he has these things on his arm. I think it's only on his body and his cheeks.
I think you gotta fix his leg.
Yeah, it looks kind of like a dick, right?
This a little bit.
Yeah. I can't even, you know what? Like, that's not going to work. No matter what I put there, it's going to look like he's. So let's just.
That's not as bad.
It's not as bad. We can pump it up. I mean, not pump it up. No, no. Giraffe. That's worse. No. Shoot. All right. Let's. All right. All right. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm just gonna leave it alone. How about this? A little shadow there. There we go. Now it's not connected because, like, yeah. Let's not. Yeah. Right. What was I saying before the giraffe?
Draft dicks.
Giraffe.
Oh, we're demonetized now.
No, we're not. Richard Nixon. Um, I also think that's the funny thing about uh, VeeFriends is like from the outset, it looks like it's like it's very wholesome looking and stuff like that. And it definitely has a good I wonder if I could put them on the. Yeah, I think I'm gonna. It's probably way too small, but I think we're gonna put like the shape of. Yeah, we'll just do the shapes of the giraffe head. Yeah, and then the. That's another thing about character design, right, guys? Like the silhouettes should look like, you know, something, so that even if you're putting in simple shapes, when I ink this, it'll make more sense. But you won't even have to. Right. And then I don't know. There's no flash really, but it's okay if it's like. Right.
That's the sound.
Sound like click click or something. I don't know.
Yep. Sean Atkins. Hi, Sean. He says that he's been hearing the main two should follow the footsteps of manga since manga sells out American comics.
Right. Interesting thing about manga would be, um, if you really look at a manga page, it's usually more often than not about 4 panels. It's like kind of done in a 4 panel. So it's like really it's a daily strip repackaged. If you really think about it, take a look. Take a look at One Piece and stuff like that. Um, it's just repurposed. So, um, yeah, Viz and Scholastic sell more comics than Marvel and DC. Hmm. How about this? I just saw a. I can't remember the name, but I just linked it on my LinkedIn page. I think it was like some comic news broke through the creator world in the Colin and Samir newsletter in the published press. There was a creator, Bad Egg Comics, I think it's called. They sold 100,000 copies of their own independent comic book, and I mean that just blows. They're doing self distribution. I've never heard of them before, and it's popping up in that world, in like the creator economy world.
Well,
Um,
that's probably why they sold so many because they're YouTubers.
they're yeah, I think the main guy's like a live streamer, like on Twitch. So it
His
kind of aligns with what
name
I'm saying. Like
is
if you have these tools and you're going to be up drawing anyways, but not many people can do it. Like it's even hard I, to talk while you're drawing, I guess, you know. So you can see like I've never drawn these characters before, so like the faces are getting a little bit different. So I'd probably go in and like retweak that. No, those are looking a little more consistent. I'm gonna go ahead and just fix this one real quick before I get into the inks. You know, I forgot his hair. Looks more like a right. I thought it was a girl, the giraffe.
dude. They're all dudes. They're all dudes.
I find that
Uh,
hard to believe, but I know because she was watching the animations and they all have like guy voices.
the only one who has a girl voice is I think the llama or a sheep. I couldn't tell. I was just watching really quick. But I was like, okay, well, surely the giraffe and the panda are like one of like the panda would be a girl. No, it had a boy voice. Maddie says the mangaka draw upwards of 20 pages a week.
Yeah, they also the bigger ones have like a crew of people drawing too, like 5 or 6 people in a studio, and it's pretty simple. I'm not saying like it's simplistic, but it's black and white art, and it's usually about the equivalent of 4 panels for per page, you know, if that. Okay, so we got the pencils done with this, and another thing I've been looking at was I don't even know much about what the where do these characters live? I don't know. No, there's no real background for a lot of these characters yet. So it's kind of like a green pasture, like an open, like there's a lot to be figured out. They've got this cool stuff going on with their Burn Island and their card game. But the world in the background, the little snapshots that I've seen reminded me of Outland from Bloom County Outland, where there's like cool mountains and like neat backgrounds. So I won't get too crazy with the backgrounds, but like there are definitely like hills. Like a couple hills have like smiley faces, like they're live or something. So like it could be like kind of like a cool little like is it a VeeFriends world? I don't know. It could just be like this other dimension that you get to. I don't know. Hey Barry, it's a comic book royalty in the house. And by the way, any of you artists out there, if you want to take a stab at this, they're hiring. So you could compete against me. Try it. Let's go. But no, I think it's just kind of fun to work on. So okay, in this stage I'd probably start right with the inks. We're 40 minutes in. I'm gonna show you guys something. Uh
Oh,
what?
uh, Andy from VeeFriends just
Hey,
said hi, DJ.
hey, it's Andy from VeeFriends. Met him at VCon. VCon's awesome. So yeah, this is the guy. Now the guy that runs VeeFriends is in here. Now I'm really nervous. No, um, but so I want to show you guys something real quick though, because we're about 40 minutes in here, and I promised at the top of the stream. So let me share something else. So I didn't know much about the background characters, and I don't think there's a whole lot to. Maybe Andy can vouch for this, but it's pretty open. The characters need to be developed, stuff like that. So what I did was I took the characters from the site. There's over 200, over almost 300 characters, and I actually wrote 6 strips based on some stuff, and I'll show you how I did this. So what I did was I went to Chat GPT 4 because I didn't have anybody to talk to. I've got a couple people that are friends in the VCon, or V Friends community, but didn't really have much to go off of. So what I did was I used Chat GPT 4 to train, and I basically gave it all of the. I'm going to go back up here really far up, and I said like, hey, I'm going to give you all the V friends and their names, right? And I pasted them in, and I'm like, there's over 200. These aren't the main characters, but they could come in when they're needed based on their name, right? Like in the situation that we're in. So I think it was Alicia actually. Allie came up with the idea of maybe for this story. Uh, for this little submission or whatever would be that the patient panda decided to uh, draw a comic strip, right? So that's what we were just looking at with this. And so then I'm like, okay, well maybe there's tryouts going on for who's going to be in the comic strip, because now you got a vehicle to kind of like let these characters come in. So with that said, I would just go into ChatGPT. Let me go back and find it again. Where is it? AI test. There we go. And I basically gave it all the names, and I kind of gave it some background on like Gary's mission and like stuff like that, and why this is like, we want to have like positive takeaways and things like that, too, not just jokes. I gave it there's a lot, right? And I said like basically give me a scenario here. So the first week of strips, we knew it was about Panda doing tryouts for what characters are going to be in this strip. I'll go back down here real quick. So this is the Sunday tryouts. Like Determined Dolphin comes in and makes a splash, and uh, so now in the second, I'm going to go all the way to the bottom so I can prompt it again. I tried to get it to read the my plugin isn't working for ChatGPT 4, but so now I know that if I was going to do a second week, it's like, all right, they've had the tryouts, and now in the second week, the comic could be about, now like I'm just going to tell ChatGPT this real quick, like for the second week, we want Panda, Patient Panda. It already knows who Patient Panda is. To start casting, or maybe start announcing stars of comic strip. let's write the first one. And then I'm just going to go and just see what it says, right? And it might not be good. It might actually be kind of like wonk, but so we got starring roles, strip number 7.
And
Ladies
then
and gentlemen,
just
yeah, go ahead.
you should probably reset the stream just because
Oh,
people probably don't know what you're talking about if they just jumped in.
all right. So I'm going to reset the stream. Thank you,
Yeah.
Alicia. All right, resetting the stream. Let's just do that real quick. I guess you got to do that about every 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
All right. Where am I at? iPad screen. I accidentally unshared my Miro board. Go back to that. Here's my Miro board. There it is. All right. Okay.
Barry says it will be funny if after the
All right.
tryouts Panda doesn't make it.
That's all right. It happens. All right. So VeeFriends, for those that aren't familiar with it, is a giant universe of characters that Gary Vaynerchuk. I think I got a picture of Gary over here. Let's see. There's Gary and his toys. Uh, so he's basically made these crazy characters, a whole bunch of them. And this is what his drawings originally looked like when he first drew them. And then he made them into NFTs. And it kind of like some of them had some cool unlocks, right? Like you could do a lot of different stuff with them, like Meet Gary, or like there's gift goats and stuff like that. And then he's just building this like empire, right? So he's got some plushies and some toys. Um, they just did New York Comic Con, so I saw a bunch of pictures from Comic Con. We couldn't go to Comic Con this year because we had the well, we went to too many conventions this year, let's say. Uh, but yeah, they did some coloring pages for kids there, and they got the card game. So like, yeah, and Andy was here in the chat. He's basically running the whole VeeFriends thing. And they've got some wonderful, like the version 2 based on what Gary drew. Here we have these awesome like version 2 characters, like it's very animated. They're just basically building a small empire right now.
Yeah, big IP library.
Yeah, look, they're doing collaborations with, Masters of the Universe, which is like awesome. And so yeah, the other night, the other day, Gary posted this about hiring a Sunday comic strip writer, and I was like, oh man, I was up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I was sick actually, and I couldn't sleep. And I saw this, and I really couldn't sleep. So I was like, all right, I want to draw this. I'm going to try and draw this. So, Sunday comic strips, we think of Calvin and Hobbes. We think of, big blowout strips kind of thing. But I had never drawn these characters before. So the other stream, I just got in here and started drawing the characters live, right? And here we have my plan. This is basically, I know they're only looking for a Sunday comic, but I want to be bigger than Garfield plan is or Crush Peanuts or whatever. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then the Sunday equals the 6 dailies, that many 364 comics. You could print them into quarterly trades or annuals, but the real kicker here in my other video on my channel called Future of Comics is that creators should be live streaming as they're drawing and writing and engaging with the fans. And it's basically just doing comic strips differently, a little bit different. And in the vein of like, what Gary preaches about, like re-putting out your content in different channels. And we've already done this. Actually, Barry and a few of the others, Sean in the stream, we did this with 7x7 in Pittsburgh, where we were experimenting with putting these 4-panel comics out on Instagram swipes, TikTok carousels, Meta, Twitter, apps. We put it on Webtoons. Like we were just experimenting all over the place with putting daily content out. Yeah, so that's resetting the stream there, Allie. And so now, since I didn't really have a collaborator, except that Allie gave the idea of like, wouldn't it be cute if one of the characters was creating a comic strip? And I'm like, that's the perfect setup for this very meta thing. So I'm using ChatGPT to kind of help with that. So in this case, strip number 7 says, Patient Panda, ladies and gentlemen, and VeeFriends of all kinds, the moment has come to announce the comic's main stars. So I'm interested to see what ChatGPT thinks should be the main stars of the strip. First on the list, for his unwavering optimism and charm is optimistic otter. And he's like, oh shucks, I thought I was just there for the after party. I'm not sharing this, am I? Darn it.
You're not.
There we go. Yeah, so like sometimes the last panel might not be funny, or like I go, I can do better than that. But it kind of kicks you off in a certain direction, right? Or like, let's just write one real quick where it's like, maybe it's like a heavier thing, right? It doesn't have to be like a jokey thing. Like, let's write a different, I'm going to say, let's write a different vibe comic, something that will make people feel good who are living in an anxious world full of fear, and all the stuff that's going on, full of fear and worry. Not going to mention like World War III or anything like that. By the end, characters are cheering each other up. Let's just say scenario. And then, by the way, people will want to cut this out and hang it up in their office. That's how good ChatGPT 4 can be, right? So let's just see what it says. The power of positivity. A rainy backdrop, patient panda sits on a porch looking melancholy. Logical lion approaches. Gloomy day, isn't it? Not just the weather, lion. The world feels heavy. And then genuine giraffe says, it's true. The world has its storms, but we all have each other. And every storm passes eventually. This is kind of cute, you know? Uh, Rain brings life. Without it, we wouldn't have those fun puddles. That sounds like Tom, Clueless Bushcraft, Alicia.
Yeah.
He loves rain. I hate rain. Uh, Always seeing the bright side, huh? Patient panda says. And then clever crocodile shows up and says, why fret when you can float? Let's race. So he must be like swimming by, right? Or something. Silly. Oh, it did like a 6 panel. Should have told it 4 panels. Every
It's
cloud,
ambitious.
yeah, it's very ambitious. Every cloud has a silver lining if only we look for it. And every moment can be cherished with the right company, right? See, after the rain comes a rainbow. I mean, this is going on. I would tell ChatGPT, like, all right, you could cut that, right, Allie? You could say, listen, there's too many words.
Too many words. Too
Too many
many
words,
words.
ChatGPT. Thank you,
If
my
you're
friends. So I can actually tell it that. I could say, redo that in 4 panels, right? If I wanted it to be like just a daily.
And I think all this to say, I mean, we talked a lot on our live streams before about AI, and artificial intelligence learning by stealing art, and it's not any different from the writing perspective of who it learned off of. So there's
Right.
definitely still some ethical concerns, but the people that come out ahead in this next world are the ones that are going to be able to use these things.
Right.
So
Um,
it's an edge that you can give yourself, because if you just like a lot of people did with digital art and say like, well, I'm not gonna participate, I think you're really only hurting yourself.
yeah. And it feels like this is funny. So like logical lines, heavy rain, heavy heart. Patient panda says, feels like the world's storms won't stop. And then there's a big puddle, and optimistic otter is either like swimming in it or like rain brings life and fun puddles. And then time to reflect and grow. Panel 3, why worry when you can float? It's race time. They're just having fun in the rain. Every cloud does have a playful lining. So I mean, you could probably tweak this writing a little bit. After every rain, there's this rainbow, especially for friends like you. Oh, how sweet, right? So it would be something that some grandma would, cut out and put on her fridge. So that's kind of an interesting thing, because like I think I come up with we come up with our own ideas. This was a concept. So the concept, I took Allie's concept and we kind of talked about it, and then it became this idea for the actual comic strip, where Patient Panda, and it makes sense to me. I don't know. I got excited because I was like, Patient Panda could be. It takes a lot of patience to do a comic strip, or do art, and in the future, a couple strips later, it's like a character saying, "Well, are you sure you could do this? Your art's not good enough." And Patient Panda's like, "I'm gonna get better as I go." Right? Like that's kind of like a nice message that like it can take some time. You don't have to hurry up and get better. You can it's about patience, time. And yeah. So that's don't be afraid of leaning into those tools, especially if you're doing something like a daily strip or you're feeling kind of stuck. You can use that to kind of prompt yourself and use it as almost like a second brain, or a robot in the room that's helping you, right? Um, I don't suggest doing like 100% that. Let's fade this out and do some eggs here on this guy. Right. Yeah, but it's not my first, like, I was talking to someone else and they're like, that's crazy that you would just jump in and draw this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. It's just easier to do it than it is to sit around and talk about it for me, you know. Let's get the size right. See, I wish I could play music on these streams. That'd be nice.
If we
Not
get
YouTube.
StreamYard, can we do music?
Yeah. Yeah, we can do some kind of looping beat, some lo-fi jam.
We could probably do that lo-fi stream. I just don't know how we feed it in
It
because of
doesn't work too great
no.
on this. We got to go back to StreamYard. Keep saying it.
Yeah. Just sell some more merch.
Yeah. We don't need another bill right now. Like we're like, oh,
We want all the
we can
cool
afford it.
tools though.
Yeah, we want all these tools, and we're like, man, adding up.
So for those of you that are in the Jar Die Club, a couple of you asked us to get patches.
Oh yeah.
And you might have saw them on the Instagram. They came in today.
Oh, you want
Don't
to
make
just
me big. No, don't make
don't
me
make
big.
you big? All right.
No. So we'll put those up in the shop. And then I got something fun. So we found some pencil sharpeners on the Musgrave website and got a bunch of those and threw some Jar Die stickers on them. So I'm going to be putting those in some merch orders. I might put a few up for sale. Chicken Butt's excited about the patches. So I knew
Yeah.
Maddie Comics likes the bigger eyes. I feel like he's surprised. I feel like he's like
The skull. Yeah.
yeah. But then we were looking at it next to the hat, and the hat's even a little different. The skull's bigger, and I think somebody was trying to tell me that in the comments, and I was like, no, the logo's the logo. I'm not going to change it, but it is different on the hat.
It is. And I don't know why. Maybe I messed around with the art when I sent it to the hat people,
I
but
don't know. It's hard to keep brand things consistent, and I think like just with the little bit that we've done, I have no idea how they do it on a scale of like VeeFriends.
ugh, yeah.
Like those Macy's toys are like on point, and then of course, my boss wants that, and he's like, "Oh, just have one made," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll just have
Yeah,
that
just
done. I'll just,
yeah.
just go ahead and do that." But I
Look it
did,
up.
but like it always
How did you
the
do that?
Fiverr.
Oh, wow.
So I found so there we'll learn things here because I learned things I can teach you. So there are 3D printers and there are 3D artists, and usually they're not the same person. So I messaged like 15 3D artists and I gave them our flat logo. I said, hey, like I want this to be 3-dimensional. Can you do that? And sometimes, they don't reply. So, kept cutting that down and then got some reference work. Got a guy to do the 3D fish. I don't think he spoke very good English, but he did great work. And then I took that and I gave that file to like 10 different printers, and I found out there are different kinds of 3D printing. So there's resin and then
Mhm.
not resin, um, and found someone to do that. And it took like, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks, but they were also a painter, which was important because
Hmm.
we didn't just want it to be the plain gray. So it came back like way bigger. That was the other thing I didn't think about was like scale. So I thought 18 inches was going to be right, but it's like massive. So yeah, but it
What's he
was
gonna
a
do with this toy? What
um
oh, shoot.
we want to mount it in a trophy.
Oh,
So it looks like it's
oh,
like
okay.
yeah, like a trophy cup.
Who wins the trophy?
The sales leaders and like the
Oh, okay.
people that get the most 5-star reviews and like
Alright, that's
I don't
cool.
know. We were just such a fun company, like to have
Yeah,
something that's different, not just get like a crystal mantle kind of thing. But
right.
as I'm working through this process, like you don't think about these things like in your daily life, like when you just buy a toy. Like I
Right.
know McFarland had those really cool toy videos up for a while of like the hockey players and 3D mapping of their like
Yeah,
faces.
yeah.
Um, but just the consistency must be so hard. It must be so hard to get people to do consistent work.
Yeah. Um, yeah, VeeFriends had a really nice booth at New York Comic Con. I saw a bunch of pictures, and just I imagine it's the first time that anybody's really at Comic Cons has ever really experienced VeeFriends. But the booth looked really great. It stuck out. It had like a pretty good. But Alicia, what I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah,
if
we
you don't
definitely
have something
picked
that
the wrong
sticks,
year to go because I feel like when we
yeah,
went, was it last year?
we went the year that like right after the lockdowns, and it was like
Two
we
years
probably
then.
shouldn't have been there, but
Eh.
yeah,
Um, but like there wasn't anything that was like up our alley, I felt.
yeah, no,
But the pictures this year were super rad. And then like my friend Jay went and he posted that they did the Jolly Jacko character had like a latte like
yeah,
at one of the coffee shops. That was super rad.
it's fun. Uh, I remember when I got so excited at the New York Comic Con when I walked past Ross Draws. No one knows who Ross Draws is. He's like a YouTuber, and I'm like, oh my god, it's Ross Draws. Like,
I never see you fanboy. Like we
never
met
see.
Greg Capullo and you weren't as excited as when you met Ross Strauss.
Yeah, yeah. Like I've met Rob. I've met Greg Capullo a couple times, but I was just so surprised to see Ross Draws. If anybody doesn't know who Ross Draws is, just look up Ross Draws on YouTube, and he's great, incredible character designer, and just awesome videos. So yeah, but yeah, you're right. It seemed like Comic Con had a lot more stuff this year up there,
Yeah, I think I don't know. San Diego was like a whole experience when we went and did that.
right?
I felt like New York didn't feel as
Right.
Hollywood. I guess that makes sense because it's in New York.
Remember the Comic Con we went to? It was called Limited Edition. Remember that one? That was
That
great.
was awesome. That was amazing.
They never did it again. Like,
Well, wasn't it right in the before times?
it was in the before times, and it was supposed to be like a mini version of New York Comic Con, just without anything else. It was just
That
comic creators, and
that
that was
was at
it.
Hudson Yards, wasn't it?
Yeah, Hudson. No, it was over at the
The
Javits Center,
pier?
but like a couple buildings down from the Javits Center. It's
It's
like a
like a
smaller.
pier.
Yeah, it was a pier of some kind. Yeah, I don't even know if it's still there. All right, so these guys are a little smaller on the. So I'm pretty zoomed in on when I'm drawing this, but
Yeah,
so I'm.
that one was cool because that was the one where Bendis and you walked up when I was in line and the guy in front of me about died.
Was that the one?
I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because I went up there because Marvel. Oh,
That's when we were chasing Marvel
man. They're
around.
chasing Marvel around. I won't even say the guy's name. I don't want to diss anybody, but he was like, "Yeah, come up, show me what show me some stuff." And I'm like, "All right, I'll come up." I was doing like trial pages for Marvel stuff, and I was like, "Ah, what the hell am I doing?" Yeah, comic books. What are you gonna do? It's such a strange, like, little. Again, I wouldn't know if I'm gonna color this. These will be like, you know, little 6-sided shapes. Right? There's no easy way to do it. You just gotta do them all. I don't think he has them on his arms, but I could be wrong. I've never really drawn these characters before, so let's, I could forgive myself a little bit.
Just the routine disclaimer that this is unauthorized fan art at this
Yes,
time.
this is not. Please, Andy, don't sue us. Not. I'm not making any money off this stream. Everybody's pretty cool in that community. I tried to explain. It's really because we're in the comic book world, right? A lot. A lot of the people here in the stream too come from the comic book world. But trying to explain VCon to people, can you do that, Alicia, Allie?
I can. I mean, what
Why
it
it was
is to
different?
me.
Because now you've experienced Vid Summit. Because I came back from Vid Summit a couple years in a row, and I was like, Vid Summit was like the craziest. Like it was just such a different vibe than the Comic Cons that we've been to for 20 years, right? Um, and now you've experienced both. So do you know what I'm saying now? Like,
So V VCon to me, people say it's an NFT conference, and I don't. There's definitely NFT programming, but I think it is a mix of NFT programming and kind of the things that you wish someone would have told you when you were younger. Like if you don't watch Gary and you don't listen to the things that Gary Vee says in his content, constantly building people up and saying like you can pretty much achieve whatever you want if you're willing to work for it and be smart about it. But also, there was a really, really great talk by Jesse Itzler um,
yeah,
about not quitting and just fighting through and never being tired and just really pushing. And it's like the non-toxic version of hustle culture and just how to be smart about it and how to empower yourself and 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 go get it. Like just get it. Like be scrappy or be smart or be whatever it's going to take, um, with like a side of NFT. And then all the IP was super fun.
hmm
There was a giant slide to get onto
yeah.
the show floor, which
I
was
did that.
completely unnecessary, but not just for kids.
That
Like,
was fun.
and yeah, and I think in that environment, like you could let yourself go, like let yourself do stuff that maybe you wouldn't have done. Like, I can't imagine that DJ, like if we were walking down the street and we were by the park and there was a slide and I was like, "Hey, go down the slide." He would not do that. But like there in
I'd
that
always do it.
space, like
Yeah,
this safe space, like I don't know how else to say it without sounding corny. I'm like, "Hey, let's go down the slide." And he's like, "All right, let's go down the slide." Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It was just very.
What she doesn't know is I'm always on slides. Like in Pittsburgh, I'm like, another slide. Let's go.
That's why you walk Daisy twice a day. You
Yeah, I'm
go
like,
take her
I'm
down the
secretly at
slide.
the playground. Whee! Yeah, you
But
know.
yeah, definitely a networking conference, and I don't know. It was just.
Yeah, but like it had a mix of speakers. Like I never thought. Well, I got to see Bobby Hundreds there. That was cool. So if you're an artist in the stream and you don't know who Bobby Hundreds is, well, you should probably go figure this out.
Yeah,
you
we
know?
listened to Scooter Braun talk about how
Yeah.
he sold his business for $1 billion.
And I didn't
Like,
even
and
realize who Scooter like, I knew Scooter Braun's name until we got back, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's the whole Taylor Swift thing and all that," but, like, that was such a good talk, like,
mhm.
such a good yeah,
And
uh,
then Jake Tapper was amazing. And like, so DJ's guilty pleasure
oh, Bar Rescue? It's my
is Bar
guilty
Rescue. If there's nothing on, it's either gonna be the
yeah.
show where they show you those fake ghost videos of like people's cabinet doors opening.
Oh, Caught
Like
on
if DJ's
Camera,
not doing anything and he's drawing, that's on.
Paranormal,
Or
Caught on Camera, or
yeah, or
Bar
bar
Rescue
and restaurant bar rescue.
because he
And
yells
his
at you.
story, I didn't even know his story. So like he tried to sell his show,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and they basically told him like, you're too fat, you're too old, you're too ugly, this is
Yeah,
never gonna work. And just by sheer force of will, that man like went and got his show. Like he
uh-huh,
just was gonna do it whether
yeah.
anyone backed him or no one backed him. Um,
What did he say about at the end of that talk? He said he sent them roses in, like, a black coffin or something? I don't know.
yeah, yeah. So I think the producer that told him no ended up working for the company that bought his show, and he sent him black roses in a black coffin, and basically
Right.
told him just like eat a dick or something. Like,
Yeah, it was such a surprising, like, "Oh, suddenly I'm watching Bobby Hundreds, and now I'm watching Taffer," and I'm like, "This is
yeah,
crazy," and then Deepak Chopra, and I'm like, "What world? Where are we at?
yeah, Drew
This is
Barrymore.
Indianapolis, like,
Yeah,
how is this happening here?" You know? So it was quite an experience.
yeah.
So,
I'm super grateful that the universe put me in the right state, uh, in the right job, with the right boss. Like, cause I don't think we wouldn't have made it the priority that I think it should have been.
right.
So, Benny, I know you're not watching this, but thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool, and people kept asking me, like, "What are you doing?" or "What are you doing there?" Like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "I'm just chilling out." Like, I'm just absorbing it and, like, trying to learn and because I'm trying to keep open to, like, instead of being an artist that's like, "Oh, NFT," or, like, people that are just down on everything, I was like, "I'm curious." I talked to a couple, NFT artists, like, it was very interesting to hear how that all works, and, like, I know it's tough. It's a tough thing. It's not an easy thing to do. You can't just throw something up and sell $1 million. Like, that's kind of a pipe dream. You gotta build your own, brand. If you don't have that, it's gonna be tough. But there's all kinds of. I saw. I was at Walmart yesterday, and there's some pudgy. If you guys have seen pudgy penguins, that was at VCon. That's the first time I ever seen that, the pudgy penguins thing, and it was like, oh, and what is this thing? It's like a way to like, I don't know. You can. I'm probably gonna say it wrong, but like you can buy these characters like as plushies, and then you could take them online and like give them new outfits and buy different things and like interact in the community sort of thing, right? Um, and I think that's probably I don't know if you can't do that with VeeFriends right now, but it seems like it's going to be something like that.
Well,
You can have like a
it's not
game,
separate accessories, but if you're collecting, you can collect the different backgrounds
right?
and the different poses. So like you could collect your preferred VF2, in different scenarios. So there's a little
Right.
bit of that.
It feels like it's I don't know enough about how the back end works, but it feels like it's set up that in the future you could plug your something into a game or get access to certain things that you wouldn't, that's kind of like your ticket to things in the future, if that makes sense. The way that the blockchain works and stuff like that, as far as I understand it. But
I remember when we were there, we were talking over like lunch or something, and having these like crazy ideas that we could do for the Jar or Die Club. And we're like, okay, well, we could sponsor the minting fee, and then we could pick like 12 artists to do art. And then I think we were talking about maybe like Board Ape Yacht Club style, where everybody's doing like a design on the same character or something like that. But like, gosh, all those things are so much work.
yeah, it sounds good on the drive home. Where you're like, we could do this, and then we get home, and we're like, we got so much stuff to do. Oh my gosh, you know. Um, Probably have to redo these panels a little bit. But yeah, when I was really thinking about this the other night when I couldn't sleep, and I was like, especially after the first stream where I was drawing them, I'm like, really made me miss Outland and Bloom County and like that kind of thing. And I felt like, man, this is really set up where it could be something very fun to do. Either, irregardless of whether I get a chance to do it or not. It, excuse me, it gave me the bug to do some comic strips again, you know, just because. Don't worry, Alicia. I won't chain myself to the desk.
Well, that's inevitable. I
Completely
mean,
wrapped up.
this project or another project or
Yeah, it just is what it is. Some people are built for sports and whatever, and you know I'm built to do this junk. I always think about that when I went to California, and the people that were like training me to be on camera for the Platinum Studios thing, and I was like, what? Like, I'm not meant to be on Like, I just at that time I was like, I probably couldn't have even done a live stream like this at the time. So wasn't in practice to do anything like this or talk when I'm drawing, even because drawing is usually a very solitary uh, process. But but then we even do like I like to do the we do the drawing events too in Pittsburgh and live. And it's nice to just go out and meet other artists and talk and kind of get that same vibe with the club online. Get to know people's names and see familiar names and see Maddie's leaving. Hey Maddie, bye Maddie. Thanks for tuning in. We started talking about NFTs and he's like, I'm out. No, yeah,
an hour and 19 minutes is a good long time to be in a stream.
yeah. Thanks for the watch time for the channel. Yeah, I'd say it takes me about. I showed in the other. I'm not gonna leave this strip right now because if I keep doing that, I could jump around. I get excited. I want to show everything, but probably a good strip if it's written and the joke or the hook is there. Probably takes me 3 to 4 hours in full color to do it. So you see, we're at 1 hour and 19 minutes. I talked for the first 15 minutes or something like that. So it's achievable if you know what you're doing and you're comfortable doing it. It's not out of. See, people are lazy. A lot of cartoonists are lazy these days. You know, they want the success without the work. Do you ever feel that, Alicia,
I
with some of
just
the
think
people we talk to?
I think there's not a lot of time, and I think it gets really frustrating when you're trying to do the work and then trying to do everything else too. And I don't understand how commuting went away, but I don't feel like people feel like they've realized that time, you know?
Yeah, Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's tricky. It's tricky because like I don't like spec work, and I don't think that contests are cool, you know, as a
No.
way to make people give you samples. But on the other hand, if it's something that you really really want, you you have to let it be worth the chance that you're going to put in some hours and it's not going to go where you want it to go. So that line's tricky, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to tell people, you know, not to do contests and spec work, but you know, if it's a crazy once in a lifetime opportunity that
Right.
you would do anything for, then you know maybe you put the work in anyway.
Uh-oh. I just threw my Apple Pencil across the room.
Why are you doing that?
I hit my microphone accidentally.
Oh.
Okay. Back in action here. Maybe not. Uh-oh. That would suck if I broke my Apple Pencil on the stream.
I have mine here somewhere. It's
Back
probably
somewhere.
charged
Yeah.
somewhere. Why do I always lose my iPad?
I don't know. You know what this
Or how
reminds me of?
like,
This remember when I did the when Webtoon first came to America,
oh yeah.
and they got a hold of me. They found me somehow. And they were having a really hard time, Webtoon was, breaking into the comic book industry in North America. And they were like, "Hey, we want to can we get you to draw a comic that like shows comic artists what they could do with webtoons?" And so I drew this thing called the webtoon, because like they changed, like, they started to change the language. We were web comic artists back in the early 2000s, right? And they were like, "We want to call it webtoonist, and it's called webtoons and not webcomics." And I'm like, nah, I don't know, okay, whatever. But so I drew a comic called the webtoonist for them, and there was a little bear called Graphics Bear that I drew. I used to draw him at my work on the walls, on our dry erase walls. And I had like a bunny, I had the bear, the rabbit was like fast, right? He was like fast at
I,
drawing. And
I think it's gone from the internet. I was
oh, it
trying
is
to
gone.
find.
I've looked for it before and I can't find it.
I don't. I don't even think you have it on your website.
No, I don't even know if I have it on backup properly because I suck. But right, it
Yeah.
exists. It exists.
Hence, we can't find the PewDiePie T-shirt design.
Yeah, I can't find the PewDiePie website or T-shirt either. It's all work related stuff. Um, but this is what that reminds me of, like the style of characters. You know.
I need to update your website.
Yeah, well, I'm not in this game. I'm not like I'm not out there hustling trying to be a, I'm not
I
chasing
know.
marketplace or anything. Yeah,
That was fun for a minute, though.
yeah. I had my 15 minutes of fame, so. Uh, but I think there's a weird for the artists that are still here, because we're gonna keep going. It's only 9:30. It's only 9:20, so can finish this comic strip up at least. Um, there's this like romanticism when you're a cartoonist of when you want to do daily comic strips, right? I wanted to do that for a long time, and I did it for a spell in the 90s. Uh, you know, it's just artists don't talk about it much, but they romanticize about like, this is what I want to do until I die. There is no retirement. And then you look at it, and that's true. Like you look at these old Charles Schultz and everybody, and then when they die or when they stop drawing, they die. Like they just decide, I'm going to retire now, and then they just don't have. Of course, they're probably going to die anyway. Everybody dies, but they draw to the very end. And I think it's like this romantic thing that cartoonists are like, yeah, let's do this forever. And it's really romantic when you're young and you don't have health problems or anything like that, right? or there's no pandemic or arthritis. But I don't think that ever goes away. I think that artists have this weird sickness of wanting to do this because it's what we like to do. So it's our passion. It's kind of meditative in a weird way. Like if I weren't talking to anyone right now, I'd probably have some tunes on, and I'd just be in these lines. I'd be like zoning out in the zone. Usually it takes about a half an hour of drawing before I'm in this zone, and I could just draw for hours. Alicia will go to bed. She'll be like, "Hey, you come? All right, let's stay up." And there's something cool about it.
Barry is trying to figure out how to do a stream like this with his process, and I'm pretty sure Barry draws on his phone.
Yeah.
Do you think he could plug in like you plug in your iPad? Could you feed in a phone like that?
I don't know. It depends on what the port is on that phone. It's a Galaxy, right? We can talk about it. Maybe figure it out for Barry.
Chicken Butt says you can.
You can. All right. Well, because I'm on a Mac, so for me, I just basically plug my iPad in directly to the Mac through a USB-C 3 or something like that, and I open a QuickTime, and I make QuickTime think it's going to do a screen recording, and I trick it, and I go, I'm never hitting the record button, but I'm sharing the QuickTime screen inside of this stream. So I'll get a lot of people asking me like, how are you sharing your iPad into this thing? And that's the workaround that I'm using, because regular cords don't see the iPad as a screen.
Chicken Butt's going to ask IT at work tomorrow and bring back the goods. Barry, I don't know if you're in the Discord. I know Chicken Butt's in there.
He's in the Discord.
Okay. Yeah, I think I've messaged Barry in the Discord before. But maybe I would say open a thread, but Discord is just a big long thread.
Yeah.
So maybe it goes in there and chitty chat or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's looking better. See, this version looks like a little kid version. This giraffe. I'll work on the giraffe a little bit. This one looks a little bit better.
The first one has some Jeffrey vibes.
Jeffrey. Well, I mean, I think if you look at any giraffe, it's going to have Jeffrey vibes. But maybe that's the whole plan, Maybe that's the plan. In general, I could see a collab happening in the future with Toys R Us and the giraffe.
Not the most recent Jeffrey. That one was weird. It's very cylindrical. Like 1980s Jeffrey. Late 80s.
Toys R Us was the bomb.
It was. How does a toy store go out of business? I don't even get it. I'm sure it's Amazon's fault, but...
Yeah. Oh, that's too thick.
I don't think my kids will remember going there.
I gotta go back into my other set, because I have these preset. Right? There we go. That's a little bit better. No. Okay. That's a little bit better. Brush feel here. Yeah. So, my plan at least with this is to do like a week's worth and send it in, and if they like it and they like the idea of streaming while I'm drawing this, and it would be fun to do. But besides that, I think the VeeFriends community are all pretty chill, like hanging out with them at VCon and going to the parties and stuff.
Yeah, we met a bunch of the spectacular holders. So there's sub communities of VeeFriends NFT holders, and that was super cool to find out. And I think while we were there, like I had this epiphany that like there are so many more subcultures than you know.
Yeah.
Like I just thought about it like, oh, like there's comic geeks and then like there's some people that really like different kinds of comics, like indie comics or like
Right.
DC versus Marvel, but like there are so many different subcultures that like you're just not even aware of if you've never been exposed to them.
Hmm. I remember meeting Danger Dave.
Hmm.
That's a cool. I mean, when do you ever get a chance to meet people like Danger Dave? Right? I
He
like
was super nice and like fast
that.
friends. Like
Oh
we
yeah,
got invited to places. Like people were like, "Oh, hey, you should come to this breakfast tomorrow."
that
Like
was cool.
it's
Yeah,
very friendly.
yeah. And now we're like, we should do that for Vid Summit. We should like do a brunch or something like that. I like an Airbnb.
I wonder how you get your Airbnb to let you do that.
You just don't. You just do it.
I feel like they all have cameras.
I don't know. Um, you could be like, sorry, didn't know. Right. Yeah. So I don't know. He's holding on to this strip now. I think I put his hand in the wrong spot. We'll fix that. See, I
It's
can go straight
floating.
to inks. I can go straight to inks here. Yeah, I kind of know where that hand's going to be. Hmm. Yeah, there's such a potential for daily com. I mean, I could talk about it for hours. Nobody's really doing it, you know. Even the webcomic guys, the original guys, all kind of just faded out. Penny Arcade's still around, but it's not. You're either in that community or you're not. You know, all the OG webcomic people faded out. Most of the comic strip artists that I know that are on like Go Comics, you know, that syndicated thing, they all have day jobs because they're not making any money with their stuff. Sad, you know. It's such an opportunity, especially in this like bite-sized world that we're living in, where people want these like snapshots, you know, of escapism. Let's say. Oh, Barry, I was going to mention Children's Palace. We were talking about Toys R Us, but Children's Palace down there in Pittsburgh was awesome. I don't think Alicia. Do you remember Children's Palace? Near
Right,
Century City.
was it red and white? I feel like it had like a castle facade on the
Yes.
front. Yes, I don't I remember the building. I don't remember being in it. I probably would have been too young.
Yeah.
But I think my mom liked Children's Palace more than Toys R Us.
Yeah. I think I got Tomax and Zaymont, the evil twin brothers from G.I. Joe, Cobra. I got them there at Children's Palace. Right before I think Children's Palace closed. I don't know. That was the 80s. That's how old I am. Well, I was young. I was little. You know, but right. Imagine how much content you'd have if you live streamed every strip. Because I mean, you're here doing it anyways, right? I'm probably a little faster if I wasn't streaming.
Do you think that people like would watch that over time? I mean, I guess if you turn out to be like Calvin and Hobbes or Garfield.
Oh my.
Like you would go back in time to watch Garfield be drawn. Like people would
Yeah,
do
I
that.
would, but that's kind of the rule that I have for myself, where it's like I want to do stuff that I would want. So heck yeah, if I could go back in time and my favorite comic artist was not because I wanted to draw comics, just because like I'm a fan of that thing. If I could have went back and watched Todd McFarlane draw Spider-Man, on a live stream or something, I would totally be all about that. Why am I so dark? All right, there we go.
You've looked like you're in a cave pretty much the whole time.
Well, I am in a cave.
It's nighttime vibes.
Right. Yeah.
It's only weird in California where it's like 6:30.
Yeah. Sooner or later we'll fade out. We'll be like, guess what? Time for bed. you know. I get up at 5 every day. I've been sleeping a little bit. Today I was up at, oh man. Yeah, what time did I get up today? 3:30, 3:40. I just couldn't go back to sleep. I just woke up and I was like, all right, I guess I'm awake now. So I went downstairs and started messing with the templates for this before my work started today. I think I took like an hour nap or something. But yeah, I feel all right. I think what they say is the older you get, the less sleep you need. So great. We're good.
You're good. I do not function without sleep.
Right. Well, I think it's fun to like work with. Like, I like doing like cartoony expressions, like trying to figure out like, you know, that's the fun thing too about like when you're doing character development and working on expressions for characters. Someone told me I was good at that. One of the writers I worked with was like, I think James Patrick was like, "You're really good at doing expressive cartooning," and I was like, "Well, thanks. I never thought about it." One of my mentors told me a long time ago, like, don't just have characters just standing there looking like, meow. Or the same thing, like you could do that in web comics. People used to just copy and paste the same characters over and over again, and you can get away with that a little bit. You could cheat a little bit, like just if it's the same thing, right? But change the angle up, you know, draw it 4 times. Come on, you know. I'm catching up on my Promptober stuff too, behind the scenes. So I'm using those as warm up sketches. I'm not posting them as
We're
much.
still getting tagged in a ton of art, so I think that there are more people
Yeah.
this year than last year.
Oh heck yeah.
They're completing all of it, and then I never got the. We did finally get. We had some miscommunication with Art is Rad, and we never published the picture of their prize, so that'll be a fun reveal.
Did you get it?
Yeah, they sent some pictures.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that'll be this weekend stream on Sunday.
Sunday at noon Eastern Standard Time. We're going to give away a custom notebook from Artist Rad, along with a Micron pen set. I think it's an 8 pen set, and a Tombow French Gray or Gray set. So that's pretty rad. And then we've been doing Jar Die merch. I think I'm going to give away some patches.
Yeah, got the new patch.
Some of the cool pencil sharpeners just for funsies. We'll probably do a couple print on demand shirts from Fourth Wall. And I don't know. I feel like we put 3 new merch things in the shop, but I think I want like a travel cup.
Mm.
So I might launch a travel cup and give a couple of those away.
Yeah. Okay, we're getting there with this one.
Maybe another hoodie too. We're trying to get a zippy in the shop, but the Bella canvas one that I want to put in there that's like super soft.
Yeah.
I have to have Fourth Wall design it, and we've been having some. Again, products are hard. I have no idea how VeeFriends does it. I can't get them to put the back design in the right place. So
Yeah, it's
hopefully
a little
that's
low.
done.
Yeah.
We can give away a zippy.
Print on demand is tough. I like to.
Well, I feel like even when you lay it out in the designer, I don't think that the people put it in that spot. Like it's not computerized really.
Yeah. It's some pretty decent. Like we test the products. Like we'll order them and check them out.
Yeah, everything we've gotten from Fourth Wall is really, really nice.
Yeah.
Especially since we're so picky. And I don't think that most people look at merch the way that you do since you worked in print on demand for all that time.
Whoops. All right, there we go. Right. Yeah, print on demand is tricky. We know why. It depends on like there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes with those machines. If they if the manufacturer decides to like, oh, I don't know, skimp on the white underlay to save a couple cents per print, then your oh man, your stuff doesn't come out. I'm gonna spin this around. There we go. Right. Yeah, if they skimp on the ink, I don't think Printful does that. I know someone else that does, but I will not say the name.
Yeah, I think there's always a chance that like the person in production is just having a bad day.
Yeah.
Like I don't think anybody goes to work and tries to do a bad job.
Well, print on
Um,
demand is also supposed to be like you're supposed to be printing like two, five, 10 things. But when you get those big giant orders for like hundreds of items, and then the ink doesn't stay consistent because it needs to be changed. So when it starts to get low or the banding can happen, there's a lot of stuff. Um, Especially if it's a shift change, the people change shifts from day shift to night shift. There's so much stuff that goes on, you know. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what I'm talking about right now.
well, you know, if they're gonna set up a merch shop, I think there's
Use Fourth Wall.
and
Fourthwall.com.
Fourth Wall prints mostly through
Okay.
Printful. So we
Yeah.
had that question on the Instagram today or yesterday. I can't remember.
Oh, this has some cat hair on it, but I got my Fourth Wall cap, the Players
um,
Club. There you go.
fourth, you don't need a Fourth Wall and a Printful because
Put this on.
if you're going to do a Printful, just do a Printful. But the only I guess there are good sides and bad sides to both. Printful has a larger product assortment, but Fourth Wall will allow you to sell things that they don't fulfill.
This is now a Fourth Wall commercial now. Got my Fourth Wall Players Club hat on.
So it is and it's not a Fourth Wall commercial because I'll tell you. So like this patch, if Fourth Wall could make this, and we wouldn't have to ship them from here, and I wouldn't have to deal with the fact that the printer made the eyeballs weird. I could just upload it to Fourth Wall and they'll do it. But if we do that, the base price on this patch is going to be $12, which means
And we make like $2.
right. So if I get them from China, they are significantly cheaper. But I just have to buy 200 of them. But
Right.
still, even if I move like I don't know, 20 of them, we're farther ahead than if we sold them on fourth wall. Now, if we had a printful shop, there would be no way for me to do checkout. I'd have to do like a custom website with different shopping carts, and it would be like a whole thing. So
Yeah.
the beauty of fourth wall is you don't get the entire printful product assortment, but if you want to, buy 200 patches from China and fulfill them yourself by mail, you can integrate it into the same shop, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And you can give your members automatic discounts, which is also really nice.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Second here. It's stuck. All right. There we go.
It's a good smile.
Yeah. It's like, say, cheese.
Panda looks scared.
I was talking about um, in the stream the other night, and you weren't on here, Alicia, but I think you listened to it. But when I used to say like I could only do one or the other, I could only draw like comic books or comic strips. There was like this dichotomy. I couldn't do both, and I don't know why. For a long time, I thought you either had to choose one or the other, and it made no sense. And now I can just draw whatever comes my way, right? Like I don't
You,
feel like it's like a shift anymore. Like style wise, I could draw a science fiction comic right now or a comic strip. But I
you
used
used
to
to make
feel,
a lot of rules for yourself.
yeah.
I don't know why that is.
I think everybody does that to a certain extent, but I just kind of realized to unlearn that. Maybe it was excuses, you know? I don't know. Weird. I don't know when it stopped. One day I just didn't think that way anymore. But it's also weird to people that aren't in comics when I say that there's a difference between comic strip artists and comic book artists. So for a long time, and I think it's probably still that way to a certain extent, comic strip artists, you wouldn't find them at Comic Cons, you know? And if they were kind of out of place. Like, what's this comic strip guy doing there? And then uh, the National Cartoonist Society is mostly comic strip people and not comic book artists because they were just split. They were separated, like kind of segregated, you know? Which is weird. So strange. All right. I got like 5,000 hats
You're
in this
not kidding.
office.
I have a chair in that office to his left. Is it left or right? Left.
To my left, yeah.
And I went to sit in it the other day, and he mounted these hats to the wall. So like now I can't even like sit back in my chair. I don't think he wants me in there.
Stay out.
It's your He-Man woman haters
It's working.
club.
Yeah, see what I mean? Like that cell phone is so small. But like when you zoom in, all it is like some simple shapes like that. But when it's zoomed out, it's like, oh, there they are on the screen. Fake. Fake that. Fake it. Right. That's pretty good. Now I might do something like now that I'm looking at this, I might do something like block this out a little bit. I also didn't realize that my panels are on a different layer. They're a little blurry, so I might do the panels separately outside of this stream because I could work a lot faster if I'm not talking to the abyss. Yeah, see, Sean says that's true about the National Cartoonist Society. It's very weird. It's very weird. But I hit the brunt of that back in the early the late 90s when I was putting comics up for free online. Like I was one of the first people to do that. Little band of misfits. God darn it, come on. And so many professional cartoonists at the time were like, you're helping to, you can't just give things away. You're destroying the syndicated system. And there were so many gatekeepers and stuff like that. And I was just like, what are you talking about? Like, this is great. So many people can read your comics now. And like, how great was that? But they didn't like it. They did not like free comics. you know, they didn't get it. I think they're starting to get it, but I still kind of feel like they're a little bit behind the times. So that's why it's kind of exciting to think that like something like VeeFriends could help propel a new. What's going on with my Apple Pencil here? All right, my stuff's not working right. There we go.
You shouldn't have thrown it on the floor.
I threw it. All right. Whoops. Of course, I got brushes and stuff that could do this, but I just like the traditional kind of feel of it, especially after thinking about Bloom County the past couple days. I just loved that. Alicia, you weren't with me when I met Berkeley Breathed, right? Yeah.
That was a special edition, and
Was
I
it?
wasn't. I was in line
Yeah.
for Jason Aaron and Jason Latour and Robbie Rodriguez, and you cut the line and like stole
Accidentally
the
cut.
last book.
Yeah. I didn't know I was cutting a line. And where is it? Oh yeah, check it out. I'll go big for this one. So I cut the line and here I'll hide this. I cut the line and I got the Bloom County episode, New Hope. Right, it was a nice hardcover. This was just coming out at the time from IDW, and I was just like, there's no line. And Berkeley Breathe is right here, and there's nobody. Why is nobody in line? So it turned out they had like a line wrapped around the back of the thing, and they were letting like two people up at a time. And I was just like, I don't see a line. So I just walked right up, and I was like, Hey, I've talked to you online a couple times about Bassadowns, and he was like, Hey, and so I got the last book, and Berkeley Breathe drew in there for me. So that was super super awesome. And then I remember the guy from IDW Comics was like, "What the? Where did you come from?" And I'm like, "I didn't see a line. Sorry, you know." So it's just how I go. Yeah, it's nearby. Made me think about that the other day. I just lost my Apple Pencil. Oh shoot. Okay, there we
What are
go. Here it
you
is.
even doing?
I set it down. Got excited about that. But yeah, what a great cartoonist that guy is. Big inspiration. Like I just remember being in 8th grade and walking into Mr. Crump's class for the first time. And there were these giant Bill the Cat and Opus statues that were like up on these bookshelves, and they were massive because that was one of the projects that he had for like his older students was to make these paper mache statues of cartoon characters. So when you walked into Mr. Crump's classroom, it was like walking into a comic strip. It was just the coolest thing. There's no photos of this anywhere. I wish people had photos of this thing. I can't believe there's no photos of this place.
Well, everyone didn't have cameras in their pocket
Right, this was like
back
1988.
in the days of yore.
Yeah, Stranger Things times. But man, what a cool! I'm glad I got to experience that. And I didn't really like that comic strip back then. I didn't appreciate it because I wasn't an adult. So it had some adult humor. That's kind of another thing I like about uh, what could go on with VeeFriends is because, if you know Gary Vaynerchuk stuff, it's very wholesome, I think, the messaging, but there's also some F bombs and stuff. He swears a lot. And I'm like, it's kind of a neat thing that these cute characters can also be real, right? Okay, cool. I kind of feel like I need to fix that first draft, to be honest with you. And I might.
So if you're new and you think, what are these little animals?
These little
DJ,
cute.
what's going on here? I don't think you need to go the whole way back to the Miro board, but what's a
Yeah. So
what's the Cliff Notes version?
the Cliff Notes is, I mean, I could just switch to the mirror board,
Or not.
but
Just do the
I just
Cliff
want to,
Notes. We
I
don't
just,
need the whole
the Cliff
story.
Notes are, there's this thing called VeeFriends. There it is. That's the logo. And they're making a comic strip. So Gary Vaynerchuk, I'm not going to go back. I'll switch back. Anyways, they're hiring a comic strip artist. And so I was like, I'd like to draw that. So I'm just drawing some stuff. I'll send it to them. And if they like it, cool. Then I'll live stream it and draw this for the next 20 years. Then we'll be bigger than peanuts, right? Um, yeah, that's kind of what's going on. But I also kind of wanted to use it as an example. This whole stream tonight is like, I put up a comic or a video called The Future of Comics on the YouTube channel somewhere where I talked about this specific thing that we're doing right now, like drawing live, making it live. And it's just nice to be able to say, like, okay, cool. This is now it's me doing it, having a little bit of time after being sick for a little bit here to just jump in here and, like, let's go. This is what I would do. And maybe this is for the young artists out there that, don't know any better and want to break into comics or something.
You're
Uh,
gonna want to break back out. You need a plan.
yeah. Break. But like, there's different ways to get seen these days, and why wouldn't you use all the tools at your disposal to do it? And I think that's kind of like, why wouldn't you live stream? Why wouldn't you learn how to do this? It's not hard, and you don't have to be charismatic or good on camera or anything like that. What am I doing? All right,
I think just like drawing, you get better on camera. Like it's practice.
yeah, literally, guys. The president of this VeeFriends company came in here. That's a perfect example, right? If you were drawing Marvel Comics stuff, could you imagine if, like, back in the day, Joe Quesada would have just jumped into your stream and was like, "Hey, check it out." You know what? That's the world we're living in right now. Is you're one click away from your stuff being seen by the people that you're trying to get in front of, right? And it's not easy to get the attention. We're in the attention economy. There's so much stuff competing for your attention. You know, whether this is good or bad or not what they're looking for, it doesn't matter. You know, uh, but if you're not putting yourself out there, uh, you'll never your work will never be seen. You know, so YouTube and live streams and showing up for events. You know, um, it's tough because in person events, you don't want to be drawing too much with your head down. You know, I learned that from a couple professional artists that were like, you got to look up, you got to say hello and smile, because so many artists at Artist Alley are like head down and their fans are coming by, and it's like, right. Even if you're doing fan art, you got to find a way to like look up. So I think that I got comfortable talking while I'm drawing because I did so many Comic Cons where I was doing fan art and I was still having to talk to the people that were waiting on their art. Hey, what do you like? What kind of TV shows you watch? Like, just making small talk while I got the work done. By the way, if you're wondering what the hell I'm doing, I'm just gonna block in the coloring for this right now Why not? Because I guess we're going to color it.
And if you want to watch the Future of Comics video, I went ahead and dropped that link in the description of this video.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, because I get a lot of questions about the comic book industry and how to break in, and I didn't even really. I mean, honestly, I mean, I'm not. It's not like I'm a megastar or anything like that. I did it. You know, I got published work. I went to Comic Cons. I got paid to do that stuff for a while, and I did it full time for 13 years. Different stuff, right? But it was different back in the 90s and what it is now. You know, so this is how I would go about coloring a comic strip and how I get to go. How I end up doing comic strips is I will isolate the background colors there. I'll just put another layer over top of it. This is not the fun part to watch, but I can talk while I'm doing it. And it comes together pretty fast. So like on one layer, I'll put the backgrounds. On another layer, we're going to go in here and block if my pencil will cooperate with me. You could just use any color, but I just usually use grays to block out the characters real quick. And then when I'm able to come in here after they're all kind of connected and blocked out, flatted, you know, people say flats. And in the VeeFriends, they're pretty much animated type coloring. So it's like two-tone, maybe three-tone coloring. You know, drop a little shade on that panda in a minute. It'll make it real easy to isolate this layer, and I could just zip, 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 be done with coloring in about, you know, half an hour or something like that. I might not color the whole thing on this stream tonight. What are we at? 2 hours. All right. You know, 2 hours is a good solid moment. There we go. Right. Because what I noticed too is like you know, you don't want to get too crazy with your backgrounds. A lot of comic strips don't even have backgrounds, right? But what I liked about the VeeFriends stuff that I was able to see on the cards and stuff, there's sometimes like, yeah, some happy little mountains and trees and stuff, and like they look they're living in a happy world. And I'm like, okay, that'll be fun to throw in the background a little bit. So now I feel like I'm rushed. I feel like I'm in a hurry now. But again, here I am in the coloring stage. We're at about 2 hours, right? I penciled this morning, probably what, an hour before work. Uh, Loose pencils. I did half the pencils because I did pencils on this stream too. So for, you know, a full strip, it's probably going to be about 3 hours, 3.5 hours, something like that for a 4 panel strip. Not bad. If you start to, there's ways you could cut corners and, you know, work on two strips at once and stuff like that, which is what this whole template would be. I might be, if these characters are going to be the same characters tomorrow, I might just wait to color the whole two strips at once and then just double my time. But for the sake of doing this and just getting in the flow, uh, next stream I come back on, I'll probably have more to show too. I'll probably do stuff off stream. Oh, is that someone's bedtime alarm?
It's my bedtime.
It's my bedtime alarm too. Nighty night. Good night, Moon. All right. Yeah. Let's just color up this first panel, maybe. Same thing. Well, I'm just going to do white. Why not just go white? It's going to be white. All right. That's not white. You You can't see it on the stream, I'm sure, but there's a difference. And I know there's people that are like, why don't you just use vector balloons? I like hand-drawn balloons. I just do. Because it just kind of gives it more of a hand-drawn feel to me. I'll use a font though. I don't like to do hand lettering unless it's a sound effect. Oops. All right, we're not gonna do that. So yeah, so now Panda, well, I'm just gonna keep going with this for a second, so I could show. Since he's white, I don't know why I'm just not putting him in white. And his drop shadow will probably be like a light blue, light gray, something like that. And his shadows on his fingers and things like that would be like a dark, dark blue. Get that in a minute too. And of course the strip that he's holding, showing off that. I need to get time to like timestamp these streams with like,
It takes forever.
It does.
And I'm only doing 1 hour podcasts right now that are really predictable.
Right.
But it still takes forever. And then I broke all of my timestamps because I edited the beginning of the podcast out. It's like it's just never done.
I was doing it when I first started doing live streams with the deep work streams with the science fiction comic I was working on. But I just scanned through it real quickly, and if I started to talk about Jack Kirby or something like that, I'd do it. Oh, Alicia was like, I'm out. She fell asleep. Not us. We're going to keep going. Keep going. Oh, she's back. Woke up.
I didn't think you wanted to see me blow my nose.
No. Seen enough of that. We're over this sickness, guys. Like, we gotta.
Someday it'll stop.
Stupid. Yeah, this is dumb. We're ready to get back to normal. All right, cool. Great. Yeah, this is not the fun part to watch, probably. But in a minute, I'm just going to color up these two panels so that you can see how much fun it is to color a comic strip. It is. It's a lot of fun. It could be like Bob Ross and be like, happy little mountain back here. And you can go in and have some fun with this. So then what I'd do is I'd isolate that layer too. So now I got my characters and my balloons on one layer, and I got my background colors on that layer. We're just going to pick like a nice happy little green. I'm going to switch over to my gouache brush. And we're just going to hit this up. Look at that. Get in there and just, see what I mean? Like I could literally like zoom all the way out and just be like, let's hit all this. Let's do it. Let's hit all that. Then we'll just go in, change the green up to like a darker green and drop a drop shadow on that. Some depth. Maybe a little bit of blue sky back here or something. We'll blend it.
What's the Bob Ross blue?
Say what?
The Bob Ross blue. He used to have like those color
Cobalt
names.
blue? I don't know. Did I get it right? I don't know. I just like the look of that gouache brush. Right? That's fun. You can see like it starts to look poppy and vibrant, and I haven't done the balloons on that one yet, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There are no mistakes. Right? And then we won't do this color. I think we'll probably do like a like a yellow. I think a yellow would be good for this. Maybe not that kind of yellow. Like a little bit brighter yellow there. Okay, great.
Phthalo blue.
Really? Did someone get it? Was it
Yep. I feel like
Stacy?
Bob Ross is like burned into my memories from when I'm like 6 years old, just like
Yeah,
being babysat by the Bob Ross in the television.
yeah. Or even now, like I used to put it on at work. It would just the sound was off, but he would just be constantly painting up in the corner of the office. Oh my goodness, we were stealing bandwidth from the company. We were just like, "Hey
Bye,
Barry, good
Barry.
night." Yeah, good night, Barry. We're almost out of here too. Not, not much left in this tank. I mean, there is, but we've achieved our, you know. Oh,
Joe says he feels less lonely listening to us talk while he's at his cutting board. And
oh,
if you don't know who Joe is, that might seem like, why are you at a cutting board?
whoa,
But Joe does paper art. Uh,
yeah,
it's super, super rad.
hmm,
It was always my favorite thing to pick up for my kids whenever we'd be set up at the same show together.
yeah. Show's coming up too in December.
Yeah. It was like envisioning Joe as a chef. He's at his cutting board,
He's at his cutting
just
board, like making
prepping
some
all his veggies for
food,
tomorrow.
right? Yeah, getting the soup ready, right?
We've talked about before maybe having like a co-working kind of session where we could just open up a big Zoom where I used to work during the pandemic when we were all at home. Like we would have like a co-working hour where we would just put our cameras on and not necessarily work together, but just
Right.
work with our cameras on to not be alone. And I think that might be a fun way that we could do the draw together meetup virtually because I know everybody put in different city ideas, and I think we're all traveled out for a little while.
Yeah, we're definitely traveled out.
Um, unless we get to go to New York for something interesting, that would be
I like New York.
we'd do that. But
Go back to the
we could
comic.
have a virtual draw together, like with a big open Zoom or something like that.
Yeah, that would be fun. Or not. Maybe it'd be terrible. No, that sounds fun. I think we'll put a little shadow on his. Uh-oh. Whoops.
You know, give him a tattoo.
It's not. There's no tattoo on this bear yet. That's version 3. Patient Panda's like, you know what? It's time. Let's get some tattoos. Party it up. Right? Yeah.
You could do a strip where he wants to emulate that rapper singer guy.
Uh,
I'm drawing a blank.
Post
It's
Malone.
late. Yes.
Okay.
I could see him with a Post Malone vibe.
Yeah. Could, you can give him some like. Oh, no, I'm on the wrong layer. Oh, like
They're like those tiny line tattoos.
right. There's like a lot of, maybe he's got like a pentagram there. It's the beauty of Procreate. We could just get rid of that. No, it's back to normal. Wait, I'm in the wrong layer. Messing around. You messed me up.
That's what I do.
Post Malone.
Keep you on your toes.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a fun little side quest. So,
I feel like in 3 weeks you're gonna be like, what did we do? Why didn't we get all of those projects done?
oh yeah, we got a
Anyway.
lot of projects we want to do, but we're like in the middle of
Promptober.
Promptober, and I'm like, oh shoot, it's still Promptober. Whoops.
Who's the sponsor after Art is Rad? So this Sunday at noon on the stream, we'll give away the custom notebook and some art tools from Art is Rad. And then we already did the Maker's Cabinet giveaway. They won the Hoovel. And last Sunday, we gave away the Field Notes pack, the Mega Pack, that I
Yeah.
still need to ship. What's the last?
Uh, we'll do.
There's two, right?
There's one more after this weekend, and
No,
it's
there's two.
what?
There's two.
What do you mean? Oh, Dango.
Yeah, Dango. So we have a Dango Dapper Wallet pen.
Yeah.
And notebooks and the little carry case.
Right.
And they're a really cool pen thing, I think.
Yeah. I forget the name of the pen off the top of my head because my brain's melting a little bit, but um, uh, yeah. And then what? Not this weekend, but the following weekend will be Black Wings giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Black Wings and no, Dango's not a weekend prize. Dango's just an end prize.
That's right. Yeah, they
And
didn't do
then
it.
we're gonna give away $100 shop credit at jardie.co.
Right. Okay.
And if you're new to Jar and Eye Club and you're like, what on earth are you talking about? You can go to promptober.com and check it out. It's like our every October jam.
Drawing, not a
Drawing.
contest. It's a challenge. Draw every day, and every drawing counts as a entry into a drawing for some cool stuff.
Yep. I
It's all.
have 5 days to make the entry form and get that up on the website.
Oh boy. Yeah. This COVID really, like, getting sick really knocked it. We were coming back from Vid Summit. We were like, all right, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and then we're like, nope, big nope. It's like 2 weeks of our life is gone. So, and then that's how it goes, right? Like I never would have thought like I'd be drawing this right now, but I'm like, well, there's an opportunity, or this is the window of time to get this done. It's not like, well, I'll do it next month. It's like, no, let's take a shot now. Well, it's see, that's what I mean. Like you can put some nice little green stuff back there. It can come together really good. All right, it's pretty good. I don't actually have the color palette in this. I don't know if I can just paste. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let me try it. Copy. Well, that'd be great if it would just paste right in here, but it's not gonna. No, it's not gonna do it. Okay. Yeah, I don't have the color palette for the right color palette for the giraffe in here. I'm gonna need
Is
that.
your color palette specific to your canvas?
I mean, I can figure it out, but I would like to have so what I would do is, let me just do it. Maybe this is a good time to show you.
Yeah, that's another question that we got on the Instagram is how do you make a custom color palette?
I know how to do this. So let's open this up. Try this. Put this side by side with the Miro board on the iPad. Don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. But this is the color I want to get. Now I can't. It's not going to let me do color selection outside of the iPad, so that's tricky. But I think if I hit this and go copy, I should be able to paste it right in here. Right? Come on. Nope. Darn it. All right. Well, I got another little trick then, guys. What I could do is I could just go like this and go, all right, so I'm probably going to want the pandas. That's easy. I'm just going to screenshot this. Boom. Right? And then we're going to take this, and I'm going to go insert image, insert photo. And then we're going to just do this. I'm just going to make this small because I just need to like the dropper. That's a beautiful idea. Look at that. Now I can get the actual yellow from my friend, the giraffe. So now I got the yellow. And since he's mainly yellow, I could just drop that in on him. Oh, nope. Nope, I lied. Okay, now we got that. And then he's got this color brown in his face. Unisolate that so that I can get this. Again, I'd probably be going way faster if I weren't talking right now. But he's got the brown in his ears too, so let's grab that. What's he got on top of his head? All right. His little drop shadow is a little bit darker. So, oh, nope. Think about where the light's coming from, just for like the. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's just nice to get a nice little. Nope. Okay, and then his hair on the back is a little darker than the regular hair. Oops.
I think his poof is more poofy than spiky.
His poof?
Yeah, on top of his head.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I can. It's the first time I've drawn these characters, so I get to perfecting it a little bit. Should be all right. I feel like this brown is different than that brown too. That's weird. It's not though, but it is. You know.
I like that he has hoof hands.
I do. Do giraffes have hoofs?
I think so.
All right. I was wondering.
They're like giant weird horses.
Yeah, they are giant weird horses.
Yep. This has been your science lesson with me today.
Somebody learned something from that.
I mean, like, they'd be super weird if they had like feet with toes. Like, that's not it. They're not like dogs.
Yeah. Animals are weird.
Maybe we're weird.
Like goat eyes. Have you ever looked at goat eyes?
Yeah, they're square pupils.
Square pupils.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
I knew something about that, but I think I replaced that in my brain with something else by now.
Does gift goat have square pupils?
I don't think so. I don't. Oh. I'll have to look.
Interesting. Curious
nope,
now.
They're round. They're adorable.
Ah, okay. Because if you gave them square pupils, it would look freaky. Right?
It would.
So like in this case too, like when you're like no one's ever gonna like it's gonna be small on the screen, but I know that he has blue eyes. And I'll just hit it up with a little bit of blue in there. So that when you're like really zoomed in, because you can see it. It does make a difference, And then what color is his eyes? Probably the brown that's in his snout. And I could just go with my own gut as far as like the lighting on these too, because I think I kind of get once once you're in the zone with it, you don't have to follow. There's no rules here right now. No one's told me I can't do this. If there's a model sheet, no one's given it to me because I'm not doing this for.
This is fan art right now.
This is fan art. I'm just figuring it out.
Stream is not monetized.
This is not monetized. Please don't sue me. I'll be done for. Gary will shut me down. What are you doing? Highly unlikely that that would happen, but I might just hit a little highlight. See, those little highlights make a big difference. I don't know if you could see it on the stream. I can't see my own screen on the stream because it's stupid
You can
streaming
see it.
thing. Okay.
See it.
Those little highlights make a big difference in the coloring stage. But that's kind of, what we'd be going for there. Excuse me. Jeez. Come on, man. My little 4-leaf clovers down here. Stay lucky.
I thought they were flowers.
Well, they're 4-leaf clovers.
That one's a flower.
That one's a flower.
It's a daisy.
What color is it?
It's a daisy.
All right. Oh,
it's not that color.
That's like a poop. All right. I was going to make it pink.
Night, Sean.
Hey, good night, guys. Good night, Moon. In a way, I just kind of want to be a legend too, where I'd be like, people go to bed and they wake up and I'm still drawing. And then I'm like, hey, I'm going to work too. Let's go.
That's not healthy.
Time for work. Let's go. All right. Now we're almost done here. I'm not going to color this whole thing. I'd probably have about another hour and a half, which would take me about 3.5 hours total for a strip, which would be about right.
Hey, Magical.
Oh, hey. Now we got to stay now. Take a sip of.
I'm out of beverages.
You're out of beverages?
I am.
That's the sign. The stream's almost over. All right. We'll call it quits at 2.5 hours. We're at 2:27 right now, so we could wrap it up. I think that's good. So if you've been watching this, we'll reset the stream at the very end. This has been me drawing a comic strip sample, let's call it, fan art, whatever. Kind of just testing out, drawing these characters in the kind of style of cartoon strip that I like. I like Bloom County. I like Opus. And this is for VeeFriends. Let's call it a submission to VeeFriends. They've got a nice, cute characters, all hundreds of them. And that's the first time I drew them. And we're just going to continue doing these live streams for a little bit. And again, here's my bigger than Garfield plan for a daily comic strip. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Dedicate 10 to 20 years because you got to go. You got to go all in to crush Peanuts, so that 20 years from now, no one remembers what Peanuts or Garfield is. Just like no one remembers the Yellow Kid, except for me and Barry and a few people. So, yeah, Magical, you have to check the replay because we're about out, I think.
So when do you think you're gonna? So you're gonna do 4 strips, and you're gonna try to submit those by when?
Well, I wasn't planning on coloring them all, but I think I'm gonna shoot for Sunday to try to just get everything in. Yeah, because the strips are written. I've written 6-7 strips. Just got to learn to draw these characters now.
Along the way, you're probably gonna do some like.
Look at that guy. Right.
Some Twitter posts and some DMs and that sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Meet your project where they live.
Look at that. I can't wait to draw Cynical Cat and Cowboy. because that's a fun character.
That's a big hat.
That is a weirdly shaped hat, let's say.
Do you think he's a cone head under there? Because I feel like that.
Oh, that would be a good strip. That he takes his hat off and he's got a giant cone head. See? Alligator. Yeah, so these are all characters that I got to draw. There's a lot of characters.
I can't believe you didn't pull the llama onto your sheet.
You know, that would have been too easy for me. We got to save him. We got to save the llama. So, hype horse is pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, cool. So that's been what I've been up to here. And hopefully hopefully some VeeFriends people. There's a lot of VeeFriend community people. They'll like it too. Maybe check it out. We'll post this on Twitter when it's done, and that's how we're gonna roll. All right. Thanks for hanging out, Allie, Alicia. All right, guys. We'll be back. We'll see if I'm gonna stream tomorrow night. We'll see. Because I'd like to maybe get a head start on these strips and actually bust these out. So maybe we'll come back sometime this weekend, or I'll show off stuff on the Sunday stream, because we will be back at noon on Sunday for the Promptober stream for sure. Yeah. Maybe we could show a little bit of this process, what we've been up to.
Give away some patches and some pencil sharpeners and some merch and a prize from Artist Rad, and it'll be rad.
It's going to be fun. Yeah. Cool. And oh look, I can set this as an outro too. So when I go out, it's gonna play that 30-second countdown.
Nope, it just made you go away. Good night, everybody.
I just leave the stream. Are we still live?
Are we gone?
No, it says we're still there. I swooped and I was gone. So
all right.
Now I'm gonna end the stream. So my bad. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.